Feminists are angry, bitter women who can't find love. Feminism is ruining marriages. If women already have jobs and rights, what more do they want? Feminism destroyed the balance between man and woman.
Do you really think there was a balance between men and women?
Hello everyone, welcome to Virtually Unfiltered. So today we are going to be doing that episode which I mentioned previously. So watch the gender roles episode where I mentioned that it's a prequel before this episode, which is going to be something that Prajwal will talk about. I'll not intro, but
Look at the happiness. Look at Kaveri. I've never seen her being happy for any other topic. And look at the happiness and the glow.
no, I was very
I'm
happy
referring to
pulling your
the.
leg for the period game episode. Don't worry. No, but today we have someone really special. Today was the first time I even spoke to her actually, but I already know her because Prajwal has spoken about her so many times, and she is our number one supporter. I would say she's commented on
Yes.
almost all
Yes.
the videos. Like, really appreciate all the effort to actually support us. Really appreciate it. So we have Divya, but I'll let Prajwal introduce her better.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I am little bit. I thought whatever you have said is already covering the kind of intro what I also wanted to give. Yes,
Yeah.
Divya is the friend who I got very late in my life. So she is my adult friend whom I chose to be a friend with now. And I really appreciate for her thoughts, and she has corrected me when I was actually wrong on certain places. So that
Oh.
will make a surprise if you guys are really interested what I was wrong with. But yeah, welcome Divya. Thank you for being part of this episode. So today we are talking about the F word which scares the society, not that other F word. The feminism bomb, what we are gonna talk about. The men are scared about it, the society are scared about it. I don't know really, the scare should be there, the fear should be there, but we are gonna talk more on that. And this could be a series if you guys, again, I'm begging again, please come and comment on our videos. But if it could be a series if there is an interest, but I think there is so much to talk about it. There is so much lack of understanding, especially starting with me. I do not really understand in detail what this topic is all about, and we are gonna go a little deeper into this. But before I start, I have few beautiful sentences from the internet which I want to read out, and I want to just get your reactions and quick opinions on this. This is what I have taken out from the internet. So yes, let me get started with that. Feminists just want to dominate men. Feminism is ruining marriages.
Wait. Do you want us to react to it, or
Now let him
do you?
complete. There's, I think, one
A
more. Then we
facial
can.
reactions also is accepted at the beginning. Then we will talk a little deeper into this.
Yeah.
So you can't be a feminist and feminine at the same time. So I am I'm really not sure what exactly do they mean by this.
Okay.
Feminists are angry, bitter women who can't find love. If
Okay.
women already have jobs and rights, what more do they want? Feminism, oh, that's just women who can't adjust. A
Okay, I didn't know
feminist
you would say
wife.
so many of them. You told me one or two. I didn't
So
expect
that's
this
why I
to.
wanted
This
to
is a
be.
rage bait
I
video
have
at
two
this
more.
point.
A feminist wife, good luck keeping that narrative alive. Feminism destroyed the balance between man and woman. Okay, these are the few things which I actually picked up, which I have actually heard, and sadly, if you look at a lot of reels and other things, I think this is what the narrative we get into. So, with this, please tell us. My first initial question and point of discussion is, what exactly is feminism?
Oh my God, so much to unpack. So many. I promised myself I wouldn't get triggered, but those
No, he
lines.
was very triggering.
No, I made sure that it gets triggered. I have five more, but I'm not reading that. Yeah.
Actually, some are triggering, some are plain sad. I do
Yeah.
feel sad, and I pity people who really have such limiting beliefs. I mean,
That's
my
nice of you.
my sympathies with them. But to come to the point, I think it's extremely complex and layered. But if I were to give a high level, my personal understanding, and I don't want people coming at me saying that, hey, this is the wrong definition of feminism. But feminism is actually equality. It's just asking for the same opportunities for women that men already have. But given that there is a difference where they started, of course, we are going to talk about opportunities for women because they have not been given for all these years, right? So that's why we say we call it feminism, even, but really the underlying message is equality. So there is a system in place. We call it patriarchy or we call it hierarchy. We are not, or feminism is not talking about flipping the hierarchy and changing the power dynamics and making now women the top of the hierarchy. No, we are talking about dismantling the hierarchy itself. We are saying that there need not be such a system in place. Everybody should get equal opportunities. Although when I say equal, I cringe a little because I feel there is another layer, which is, I don't want to go super deep in it, but it's about equality versus equity. So when you say equality, you're talking about giving exactly the same opportunities to everybody so that they can run from there. But when we talk about equity, we actually understand that not everybody is at the same starting line. So to actually give them the same opportunities will not make them equal. So you have to give more opportunities to somebody who's lacking, and then they will actually be at the same starting line. Now that is equity. So another layer to feminism is that we're asking for equity in opportunities for
So you
genders.
mean to say when like before we actually give them opportunity at racing, for example, we want to make sure that everybody has a same starting point.
Yes.
Not
Exactly.
many people do have the same starting point. That is where you are getting it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to go back to those statements what I made before. Do you think I am directly going on the negative side of it? Do you think at this point is there a misuse of feminism also which is happening? Do you see that also is an angle or case which have you come across of, or do you see that is also an angle where, because I want to understand your point of view. I don't really get triggered with the word feminism, but do you believe there is a sense of fear also among people, or there is a sense of negative narrative associated with the uh, feminism term? Both of you, like, do you see that, where is it coming from, or why exactly that could have happened?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Divya. No problem.
So, I mean, you'll have to ask me to stop because, as you can
No
see,
problem. It's okay.
like, I have too many opinions. Not too many, but a lot of opinions.
Right.
Um, I think you probably talked about two different aspects here. Maybe I'll get to the second one first, which is there any negative connotation associated with feminism? Yes, there is. Is there fear? Yes, there is. But I feel lot of it stems from misunderstanding about what feminism is. If anything, when we speak of breaking patriarchy, we are not speaking of breaking families. There was something in your line that you mentioned that feminism is breaking the balance between man and women. To them, I want to question, do you really think there was a balance between men and women? Do you think
Yeah,
if
Yeah.
you did, probably you were not at the receiving end of imbalance.
yeah,
So
I
maybe
get
we
that. Yeah.
take a step back and understand that. So the fear comes from the understanding that, from the misunderstanding that feminism is asking for flipping the hierarchy, where we are saying now, instead of patriarchy, let's introduce matriarchy, and women then lead, women then everything, but men now have to take a step back, which again, if it's a choice, for sure, but that's not what feminism is propagating. We are just asking for equal opportunities. And why is there a fear? Years and years of conditioning, right? There are so many promoters of patriarchy, and they're all not just men. There are also women who've been in this system, who probably either benefited from it greatly, or they feel they suffered and they just are jealous that the next generation will not suffer. So
Oh, nice.
they kind of want to put this narrative that, hey, why are you making these girls so powerful? Maybe deep down everybody thinks that the person or the gender that can nourish another human being, that can give birth to another human being and bear that kind of pain, who are scientifically known to be better multitaskers, have more emotional quotient. Maybe they have this fear that if they also have the power and opportunities, how far they could go.
Correct.
But I believe that most of it, as I said, is misunderstanding, misconception, and a little bit of insecurity. No secure man would really be worried with an ambitious or a more successful woman. It's only people who thinks mardangi is in औरत को दबा के रखो, of course they would feel fear. So I think if you're getting triggered by these things, you really need to take a step back and look deeper
No,
inside you.
I was coming
And
from an
by you,
angle
I
where
don't mean you. I mean people who are sending these.
no, I was coming from an angle where I also feel sometimes it's just an observation that people also, when you said the flipping the whole hierarchy thing, that's not maybe exactly what we are getting at. But
Mhm.
I think there is a some section is what it comes across as maybe that is also what we have been ruled by men. Now we want to rule and actually like we want to dabao the men. So there is also this narrative which comes in from
That is
certain set of people. But I, yeah, definitely with what you have said and what we have discussed, I don't think so that's what the actual definition comes from. But I think this is also a certain angle what we are getting at. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I just
No,
wanted to mention one thing where, so a lot of men who actually think like that, I personally feel, again, this is not everyone, but I kind of feel like they don't want to give up that throne that they are in. So they are like, whatever benefits I get will be completely gone. And that is where the fear comes from. So we are not saying get out of your throne. We are just saying we'll create multiple thrones. That's the way we are trying to say feminism. And I think to add to a point, which I already mentioned in that gender role episode, is feminism is again not only about men and women. At least this is how I kind of put that in my mind. Again, as I think Divya already mentioned, like what I personally think, which is not the definition of feminism, but it's mostly like anyone wants to do something as long as it's not hurting anyone. There's nothing wrong in doing it, right? So you're creating your own box. Again, like this is where the LGBTQ also, I just want to mention that because it's feminism is again not only about women being suppressed, it's anyone being suppressed in any format. We are trying to say everyone should have an equal say in anything and everything. So I just wanted to be like, I don't want it to be a stereotype saying only women, men and women in general as human beings is what we want to call out. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think Divya wanted to say something.
Uh, no, I think that's a brilliant point, actually. It's really about equal opportunity to everyone because even, especially talking about a country like India, which is so diverse and it has all these, again, unnecessary, in my opinion, the caste systems, the
Yeah.
color systems, the religion, region, etc. It becomes even more layered. So, for example, the struggle of feminism that I have might not be the same as somebody who's probably way less privileged than me and somebody who's way more privileged than me. So, in that sense, addressing all of those becomes even more tricky. So that's why you can't really put it in a box and say it's just about, us, or like, let's say in a group of just the three of us, our experiences are also very limited. Another thing which I wanted to mention earlier was around why men should actually be celebrating feminism rather. And that's why we do have so many male feminists, so many allies.
Yeah,
Um,
that was my next question. It's like, can men be feminist?
Yes, they should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I know a lot of feminists. And the reason why it is important is patriarchy, of course, largely benefits men, but it also has a lot of negative effects on men as well. And I think you guys touched a bit upon it in the gender roles episode. The pressure to be the provider
Yeah.
all times is also something patriarchy preaches, right? The pressure to be a man, don't cry, don't show emotions, all of those things. And we are trying to break that. So it's basically every individual who's come into this life to live this once in a lifetime opportunity, they get to live it to the best of their ability, the way
The
they
way they
want,
want.
not the way society tells them to be. And like she said, as long as they're not hurting anybody in the process, why should anybody, have a problem with it?
Yes, provider is, yeah, I don't mind being the nurturer and if there is a provider. Yeah, I don't mind that angle of like that there is so much pressure, that's so much pressure
Yeah.
of again, we are going back to what we have already discussed, but I agree to the point. Again, I think there was one more question on difference between being feminist and just believing in equality, but I think you already answered with
Yeah.
there is angle of equity along with equality. It's not just this, right? Okay. Do you, okay, there is a question here. Do you think the feminism is portrayed very differently in media or with pop culture. There is a what exactly the definition, what exactly it is supposed to be? Do you think it's how it is being portrayed, or it's how we consume? Because I am still getting to a point where I understand the point where we are trying to flip the patriarchy, or we are trying to question what was happening before, but I still feel there is, again I am going back to, it's like a radio, broken radio, I'm saying the same thing again. There is still some negativity or some fear which is there. I am trying to get to the stem of where exactly do you think it is coming? Who exactly is spreading this? Are men only doing this so that it can't be practiced or it can't be celebrated?
I think it's not only men. I think the culture today is rage baiting. So they're finding rage baiting in any format possible. And this is the best way because a lot of men get triggered very easily with this. And this gives views. So the world works around views. It's working. Because of that, I think we also see one is on the feminist side, whatever is being put. I think a lot of things on media, which I've seen also, is also trying to say women are better than men in a lot of situations. I have seen that, which is not the way feminism is built in the first place. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of that toxic masculinity channels, or I don't know, a lot of videos which we see where they are trying. So this has become like a how do you say, it's a debate between them. They're getting views out of it. I don't think anyone specifically believes or trying to be like, okay, this is what I believe and I want to put this out there. It's more of this gets views, let's put it out there. So again, we also want views. We are also doing this for
Yeah,
views. I'm
yeah,
not saying
yeah,
no.
yeah. Feminism is bad.
But
It
this
is spoiling. It is the cancer to the society. We will just put this at the beginning so that we get some clicks. Yeah.
yeah, so this is our actual views we are trying to put. Like, we are trying to say it's not bad, but yeah, everyone takes it the way they want. That's all we can say. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's today media is basically something that is giving access to anybody who's not even eligible, right? So you're
Yeah.
basically making everybody a journalist, even though let's say their opinions are something that could mislead a whole lot of whole lot of people. So I think that is definitely one big thing. Another one that I can think of is anything new is uncomfortable, right? Just
Yeah.
imagine back in the day, the first person who said that, wait, what? Sati? Why do you have to do Sati? I'm sure it was not accepted. I'm sure it was like, are you crazy? Are you saying that the woman should live after the man is dead? To us, it sounds so ridiculous. Maybe 100 years down the line, our kids are sitting and talking, and probably they're like, hey, what? Like, women weren't allowed to take jobs? What are you saying? So I think that's what it
Yeah.
is. And what is
Waiting to see
important
that
is
day.
to yeah. It's important to have that conversation irrespective. Even if that makes people uncomfortable, it's fine. Like I've been in situations where I've been told, oh, हर वक्त ये feminism का झंडा क्यों फहराना है? अरे फहराना है भाई, why not? I mean, I am not going to laugh at sexist jokes. I am going to call out people right there and then. And if I see somebody trying to push the gender norms hard, I'm going to push harder against it. Even if somebody has to judge me saying, hey, you know what, she's like this and she's like that, I don't care about it. Because for me, somehow, this topic is super important. I don't want the future generation of girls and boys to continue living in a world which actually gave me a lot of issues. So I think that's the motivation. But I also see like why there is so much of discomfort around it.
So I
So
actually
I,
have one. No, I just want to actually ask you one thing because you did mention like you see things happening. So I think because you're in a position of power as well. Like, how big of a deal feminism is in that kind of a role? So basically, I'm just trying to say, like, usually they say I'm not in a position of power, so this is a personal question I have. It's like usually they're like, okay, if someone is a woman, they might not treat that woman the same way as they treat a man in the same position of power. So, do you see that happening, or is that not seen nowadays? Or at the same time, how do you deal with it? Because it's again in a professional environment, like in the career field, all of that. So, how do you handle it?
You were asking me when you said position of power, I immediately
Yeah.
thought you were talking
No.
judgment.
Thank you, Divya. So wonderful. I am not in any position of any power. So, yeah.
I am also not. Are you? Do you mean like from a career
Yes,
perspective?
yes, yeah, career
It's
perspective.
like,
Yes.
what power do I have?
No, no, that's what I actually could see Divya's face having all those expressions. What power? Like, what exactly? Then I wanted to clear, like, in career, yeah. You have power
Yeah, yeah, in
otherwise
career. You
also,
do, right?
but in
Like,
career.
Um, mm-mm. See, your question is super, super valid, first of
yeah.
all. I would like to say that I am privileged that I did not face a lot of these issues, but I do know of people who have. In my experience, there have been very few instances. I can name them. For example, in my career, there was a there was a point where I was in. Now I'm double thinking that I should not offend anybody. So I was in
No, a
Rajasthan.
generic scenario. It doesn't
No,
have to
no,
be anything
please, please,
specific.
please, please, please offend some people, please.
No, no, no. Again, it's not specific to any place or any person, but I
Yeah.
was in, let's say, very smaller villages of Rajasthan trying to understand business from ground up, so on and so forth. And I used to go to these traders with another boy who was basically working with them, but he was, yeah, I used to go with him. These guys wouldn't even look me in the eye. And I was probably 3 to 4 levels above that other fellow, but he would only talk to him, you know. And initially, I would feel like, why is he shy? But then I saw that this is a pattern. And then those guys came to the offices. And then initially I thought that maybe they feel a disconnect, they don't relate, etc. Then they all came to the office for some meeting. There also, they would go and talk to, like, shake hands with with the male colleagues, and they just wouldn't even acknowledge you. So this was something that I had faced very early on. And then I realized that it has a lot to do with the geography, the demographics, etc., etc. Other than that, I think issues which are very not dear, but closer to my heart is also some of the issues that my mother faced. Now, my mom, she's now retired, but she used to be the district Ayush officer, so very similar to the district health officer, but in the Ayurvedic department. So there were a lot of doctors. Basically, all of the Ayush doctors of the district would report into her, and there was this angle of Zilla Panchayat members and officials reporting into her. It was so difficult to be in that power being a woman. They would try to walk all over her, and I would at this point want to call out that my mom is a pretty strong woman. She's not somebody people can walk all over. They would try to harass her in the way that they would want, let's say, they would want people to be hired without interviews, without qualifications. They would push her to take bribes and let people not do their jobs. All of these from all angles, and even people from the so-called commissions in that area, from this association, that association, they would all walk up and they would, and this was all in the beginning. Okay, so like I think 5 6 months of her in this role was super terrible because they thought, oh, there is a woman now in this role, and they would be like all, and it took her, imagine the amount of effort she would need to put in versus a man who could just come and do his job and go away.
Yeah.
For her to do all of that while also bringing up 3 kids as a single mother, like I really feel like she must have been so strong to have done that. But this is pretty much an example. And in today's day, another example is my friend who recently gave birth to a second child. She has brilliant credentials. She used to be the head of marketing for a very well-known brand, and then she took a break. And now, when she's being hired, obviously she's going to want to come back in the same role, right, or in the same levels. She's been asked more than her experience. How many kids do you have? Do you plan on having another kid? What does your husband do? Is his job transferable? So you can imagine the level of biases
I
that they.
think,
So
yeah, this
credits
is a
are,
very good example of how we can understand as guys the difference.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think so any men will ever get asked like what are the kids, how many kids do you have? I don't think so that's a
Yeah.
question ever being asked. But I think when you flip it and that's what you guys talk about, like yes, nobody should be questioned either way or should be questioned equally.
Yeah.
It can't
Exactly.
be just the responsibility of a guy, right? Sorry to for cutting you off, but I now with this is the point which makes it very clear.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody would ask that, right? And even like celebrities, for example, every time anybody becomes a mother, the first question they ask, so are you going to come back now? And how are you going to manage a house and a child? So the idea, and I do believe that the responsibilities of a man and a woman when childbirth happens is very different. And of course, she needs a lot more care and support. But that's it. Then the responsibility of child rearing is also equally on both of them. But this assumption that yeah, this they have to do versus this they have to do, and I mean, stop me if I'm being very long, but I want to add an instance here. Okay, so last weekend my husband and his friends went on a boys trip, and which is something that we pushed for because we all feel like, and for context, all of us gave birth last year,
Mm.
and so all the women kind of stayed in one place so that they can look at the babies together, and they can go on their boys trip. Nobody thought it's a big deal. Okay. Now the twist to the tail is next weekend, actually end of this month, the girls are gonna go on the trip, and the boys are gonna stay home with the babies and the dogs and all together. People are not able to digest it. People in my family, people in his family, not able to digest it. My told me yesterday, what he's going? I said, but what you're going? But I said, but he went, na? So what? But that's like her exact words were, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಕೋತೀರಾ ಗಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮಕ್ಳು ಹೆಂಗ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಪಾಪ.
Their own kids they
Oh,
are.
God.
Oh my god. No, but doesn't this trigger you? This is so like it's triggering me from you. How do you handle such scenarios?
Actually, it's yeah, day in day out triggers Kaveri.
Oh my god, that's yeah.
No, but
It's
I
a
think
fact.
there is again this point of sometimes like ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ವೈರಿ ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ. I think that also works
Yeah.
with feminism angle because I have seen a
Yes.
reel where a woman comes up. I think I don't know the exact person. I think she is quite famous to be very honest. I think she is a Rajasthani woman. I think she wears that dupatta on the head and comes and tell. She explains why women shouldn't be independent, why
Yeah.
women shouldn't actually take certain decisions.
Yeah, I've seen too
She's like,
many
what is wrong
videos.
with
Yeah.
someone?
But wait. Look at the irony of this. She has the choice to hold a phone and speak about her opinions. Who gave her that right? Feminists. Actually, the feminists from 50, 100 years ago who are pushing this narrative made it possible for her to have an opinion and speak it out. So
Yeah.
the irony is lost to me, seriously.
Correct. Now, I think that I also want to mention like they are not famous as such, but there's a YouTube channel where there are like it's kind of a debate channel, and they got in feminist men and anti-feminist women. And you had
Wow.
to see the kind of conversation. So there was a woman in that saying like I think there was a conversation related to being the president and basically in leadership roles and stuff. So the woman is like women should never be in leadership positions.
There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good, and that's a
leadership.
good thing. Women should not be positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of emotion.
They're too emotional for it. And I feel like more than men, I feel like women like this have to first change. Only then you can expect men also to change in like their thought processes, right? Like how do you deal with such women in the first place? Actually, that's a bigger question to answer. Like all
I
these
think
people are very
it
closed
gets
off.
flown. It gets flown from generation to generation. I think somewhere
Yeah.
someone has to stand and filter it out. Not
Yes.
everybody do that, but I think someone has to do that so that it doesn't get flown on. The idea of okay, now I have been what they call a culprit of probably cracking these jokes, but I want to address that where I feel the whole idea of women should cook. Why exactly it's been transferred from generation to generation? I feel that it is still there. I don't really think it's actually has been abolished completely in terms of why exactly is that a narrative of who should actually be working in a kitchen, who exactly
Personally,
should go out. I think why exactly is that a narrative? I feel as in it's a rhetorical question kind of a thing, but that also explains, right? Like that's the idea which is kind of loan, and also women are also a little bit of culprit at this to actually let it flow from generation to generation.
Yeah, I think a lot of women don't question because it's very easy to go with the flow and it's very difficult to question things. So a lot of people choose the easy route. I think that also
No, but
happens.
I think some people might not have an option. Also, I get that. I'm not actually going
Yeah.
to that. But when you say it's easy or something, Divya had few wonderful expressions when I was making those statements.
I mean, no, I just have too many thoughts. Now I want to use the word too many because they are kind of like being
This is your
counterproductive.
platform.
I think cooking in general, right? Have you ever wondered that they always say the place of a woman is in the kitchen, blah blah blah, and all the big chefs are men?
Yeah, Prajwal made this point last time, yes.
Yeah, I was like,
And you know that even people who wanted to be chefs were questioned back in the day. So
yes.
Yeah,
the
correct.
problem is the kitchen. The problem is power. Basically, kitchen is such a beautiful place. Now I feel because of all these conversations, the connotation with kitchen and maa ka khana
Yeah.
and
Correct.
khana is wrong. But the point is, cooking is a life skill. Every person should be able to feed themselves, first of all, or be financially and intellectually secure enough that they can hire somebody who can do that for them. But the reason why it's so triggering is because growing up, young girls are taught from such a small age to cook, which is totally fine. But with the narrative कि रोटियां गोल बनाओ ताकि तुम्हारा रिश्ता कहीं अच्छे से हो जाए. This is
Mm.
not done. You're just teaching them to अरे खाना बनाना सीख लो, learn this, learn that, and no boy has ever said that. So what are you doing? And when we say it's a choice, I also am not 100% sure. Like when girls 2021 say, oh, it's my choice, I want to just get married and settle. I'm not 100% convinced it's her choice. Because A, you're not old enough, and B, if you're conditioned for all your 21 years that learn to cook, learn to clean, learn to serve a husband, then is it your choice anymore? Or is it just, I don't know, years of
They're
brainwashing?
thinking it's their choice, which they don't even
No,
know.
I
Correct.
also want to bring in an angle here where I think I had this discussion with people where they say, for example, if you have too many things happening in your career, if you're not sure what to do next, the easiest angle what people tell to them is like marry someone and make that their headache. The whole idea here comes somewhere where if you marry and be in home, the whole outside world problems what you are seeing currently might not be your problem. So the whole angle or spin what is coming on top of this is that.
That is such a micro level of looking at things. You're really simplifying and like trivial. Okay, I forgot the word also.
Trivializing.
Just trivializing this whole thing. No, I don't think so. This is so ridiculous because that's not how word works, right?
Yeah.
You can't sit in your own bubble and say that, for example, I mean, okay, let's not go there. It's a very deep topic, but in general, I'm saying by saying that also you are actually making a woman feel like she is not good enough on her own, that she has to find somebody and then all her problems go away. That is so ridiculous.
No, yeah. I was also getting to the point same where this is actually being fed in a terms that this looks like an easy option to men. Like the choice of what you are telling at 2021 getting married. I think this also is a choice. It is also fed as a choice. It actually comes as a choice. It feels like, this is easy. Why can't we do this?
Absolutely. And I have so many opinions on this. And maybe the reason why if I can give a little backstory as to why probably this topic I'm so passionate about, is exactly around this time. So growing up or any time, I did not face any kind of discrimination between like, oh, education, blah, 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 nothing. It was all super great. And I saw my mother who was, of course, an example of a feminist and all of that. But the minute I hit around, I think 2021, people start talking about my marriage all the time. And my friends who were my age, boys who are my age, nothing. Oh, you have another 10 years to figure out life. Why? Especially, and I used to be such a good kid growing up that everybody would be like, oh, look at her, like, oh, study like her, or be like her, and all. And these aunties, once I was 20, like, when are you getting married? Oh, get her married now, and all that they would say. And they are giving 10 years ka buffer for their own sons to figure out their life. And for me, even though I'm so outspoken and I'm confident in my skin and all of that, and I had a support system where people were not that crazy that they were like forcing me to get married or anything within my family. But still, I also had like a good struggle of many, many years to choose to get married when I wanted to, with whom I wanted to, the way I wanted to. So for many, many years, I've struggled with it, trying to explain to everyone that I will do it at my own choice. Imagine this, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, people were like, what choice? Arey, but this is how everybody does so many years. Now you have to find a guy. If you start finding now, you'll find in 3 years, and then you have to marry. And I'm like, oh, that's the kind of guy that I want. And the kind of guy that you want is like not even a thing for a girl. For a guy, they'll ask, oh, kitni sundar, what height, and all of that. But for girl, it's like, oh, you find a guy, and the minute a guy says yes to you, you're done, you have arrived in life. That's how the whole narrative is. So even for me to be finally at a place where I could marry whenever I wanted to, whoever I wanted to, and all, it was a lot of struggle for many, many years. And I am saying this while also noticing that I come from privilege, where I can take a stand and say no. But imagine many girls out there who probably don't have the privilege that I have, and they were probably had so many dreams and aspirations, but all of those were reduced to just finding a guy and getting married. How is this fair? And then we say that, oh, but they don't have what it takes. Array, give them the time and the space to build that life for themselves. Na? So this is also what feminism is propagating, and that's the reason why I'm so passionate about this topic.
In fact, adding to that, I had a few questions. So first thing is, even when you start like you want to date someone, like I feel like sometimes this feminism gets in a way, not in a negative way. Like, let me get to the point, but it's more of like when you're talking to someone, you kind of realize the way they talk about certain things, and you realize they are not a feminist in some way. Maybe they have the capacity to actually open their mind and be open to feminism and maybe convert to a feminist as well. Like, I feel like everyone is a feminist by default. They just don't want to be ready to accept that in certain formats. Like, that's how I think. But when you start like dating, right, you usually are like, okay, this person said this, so they're not a feminist, let's not talk to them. Like, let's not continue because this is going to go nowhere. Did you first thing face that? How do you get past that? And like in the dating phase, how did feminists play a role in your life?
I think in my case, I did not do anything consciously. I don't think it was more like, hey, he's a feminist or not. I think
Okay.
some of the traits of feminism are in my books traits of being a good person. So I would generally look at people, is he a good person or not? So if somebody is talking disrespectfully, not just towards men, but also
Yes.
not towards women, but also towards men, then that person is already a red flag in my book. So I wouldn't date any further. But I think, yeah, it's about just noticing these things. And there is a spectrum, right? Like the one on top, like being sexist by nature, thinking that, okay, this is a woman's job, blah, 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 that are clear red flags anyway. Then there is a small part where I think there is a lot of education needed, because the journey that we've had as girls is very different from the journey that they've had as boys. So some of the things that they just don't know. And if they are from a family where there are no girls, then that's a totally different thing. So some part take education. So that part I think is okay, that you can explore and understand with people. And then there are pure green flags, which is the ideal.
Yeah, the best possible. Yeah. No, but was it so when you did start dating your husband and when you got married, like, is he a feminist or was he into the green flag, like, or the educational side? Like, how was that?
I'm not commenting.
Now I'm calling him out.
In my case, it was a bit different because when I married my husband, at that point, I'd known him for more than half my life. So it's not that I ever
Oh,
looked at him from an angle that, hey, I want to date this person. It was like he was one of my
okay.
best friends. He is a feminist, and I would not have ever married a feminist. So I'll tell you something, because he believes in equality and gender norms don't exist in our house. Everybody, including someone who shall not be named, thinks that, hey, like we're so lucky to have a husband who, helps out, takes care, blah, blah, blah. And you're so lucky to have found somebody. And I tell that I would have never married anything otherwise, right? I wouldn't have, it's not that I ended up with this guy and he's so this thing. No, I found a guy like that. I looked for a guy like that. because I don't believe in any other concept. So yes, he is a feminist, and I think one thing that we explicitly spoke about before getting married is that I told him, and of course he knows all of those things about me anyway. But one thing that I was explicit about is that I do not believe in taking somebody else's surname. This is my choice. And I also
Yeah.
do not believe in the concept of kids carrying their father's surname only. So if we were to end up together and have children, I want them to carry both of our names. That is my kind of like non-negotiable. And he was okay with it. Other things is, I think another thing you should be aware of is how are they treating you, your success? Are they celebrating you or are they getting insecure? I think that also is a clear red flag, which in the case of my husband, he's already always cheered for me, just like how I cheer for him. But when a man does, it's different, no? But yeah, that's also something that I noticed. And there has been a fair bit of education piece also, which back then I thought didn't exist, like how you're saying, right? I thought there is a black, there is a white. But in these 5 6 years of getting married, I realized that there are so many things which are alien to him. But as long as he learns and understands and sees my point of view, then we slowly learn. And it's not that we agree on everything, but yes, I feel it's a journey.
Okay, there
Got
was
it.
something in between shall not be named was told. Okay, in what direction are you shooting here? Are you shooting in the people who are on the frame, or what exactly is happening? Huh?
I forgot also. I move on, Prajwal. I forgot only why I said.
People, there is a deliberate attempt to make your sweet boy as a bad person here. That's not the case.
There's a fair bit of education that happened with Prajwal also, okay, between me and him. So I
Oh, is
appreciate it.
it?
Mm.
Oh, what was that? Now I
Wait,
need to
that's
know.
for a separate episode, I think.
Now this is a
But
beautiful episode for
actually,
it.
No,
yeah.
I am a quick learner. There are things which I don't
Actually,
really
if you
understand.
don't mind, Prajwal, if you don't mind, we can talk about it. I think it's a good one.
Yeah,
But
see, okay, my explanation also
I
I
get
tell in
no,
where
no.
I was coming from.
I should get to tell the story, and I will be very good. I
Now I'm
know.
scared.
And this is very important. Okay. I think I want all the boys, all of your subscribers to listen to it. Even though deep down you are core feminists and you don't believe in this idea, but if you don't implement it, it's actually as good as not being a feminist.
Not being a feminist, yeah.
So Prajwal used to crack a couple of I would call them sexist, but a little bit like, hey, go to the kitchen girl kind of jokes in family video calls. When I was there, my husband was there and all of that. And that used to trigger me a,
Oh,
even though I
I
liked him a
come
lot,
where I
I
was
was,
coming from. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he
yeah,
was. So okay, let him speak of his, but he was just trying to be funny, even
yeah.
though I do understand his intention. But my point was that I should not adjust myself to his intention. Rather, he should understand that this is really not helping the case. I think I don't remember, but I probably gave him a three-pointer as well as to, first of all, I am also cooking. The reason why you call out my husband is you see him cooking 50% of the times, which is a lot for any man to see, right?
Mm,
That is the thing. And the second thing
correct.
is you are basically calling this out and making it seem abnormal amidst a generation of boomers who would then basically are forced to think that what they have seen as normal is the only normal and this is abnormal. Rather, you should make this normal. So that was the situation that we had. We spoke about it, and now here we are.
Yeah. Now I come in. So basically, my
Yes, yes.
idea was actually, and that's how I used to be. And I have agreed at points where sometimes I don't really understand how my words can have an impact on other person's people. And I have given an example in gender rules also, where I feel, in general, in my head, it was like it was my sister's duty to do a certain thing. That's what I, like when I came back from office, I felt like, okay, she should bring me the food to my head, and that was something which was normalized in my head. Now then I realized why it was supposed to be like this. Now still my sister gives me food because of my laziness. That's a whole different debate
That
altogether.
is totally
That's
different.
not a feminism debate, that's a laziness debate. I get to the point. And also I came to the point, and also this is how I was. And for me, I did not see it differently, because I would have cracked the same joke irrespective of gender, depending on whom I know. For example, if it was Divya was my friend and the husband wasn't my friend, I would have cracked the similar joke on him, and that is how I am. But I get to the point where, like, that's what I told you also saying, right?
Yeah, but
Because
it is so
maybe.
random. I know you through my husband, so he is your friend first. What logic,
No, I
Ajwal?
said if it was other way around also, I would have done the other one to him. Like if I was your friend and I knew your husband via you, that's when I would
Yeah.
have cracked jokes on him, not you. That's where I was coming from. And that is the
Oh,
explanation I gave it also.
I don't know. Kaveri, do you buy this explanation?
No, I
No,
think
I
I have
think
given this
he's
explanation before.
like sometimes he is. It might have been through like not realizing that it is something that might be very sexist or anything. I don't think he has that intention at all. Like I have noticed sometimes if we do mention it, he'll make sure that he'll not make such kind of jokes and he'll be
Why
mindful
this
about it.
feminism
So
episode had turned into let's bash Prajwal. Let's
No,
I am
cancel him.
supporting you here.
reason why I brought this up, Prajwal, is also because I think people, even with
Yeah,
the best of hearts and zero malign intentions, also end up being in situations like these, which they just
correct.
need to be careful about. Like
No,
sexist jokes
I
are funny. Please,
no
I mean,
when
this is for everyone, not targeting you.
no
So
no no
people
I
think,
get the point.
okay, but it's not. It triggers people and it puts you in a bad light as well. So
Yeah.
the boys listening, please remember
No, okay.
this
I was giving
will
an
be the way to
explanation.
find a girl. Improve your sense of humor, find better jokes.
No, I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
getting to a point of where, for example, I was coming from an angle where, like, for example, not taking an example, if Kaveri is my friend when he is working something, I'll not tell her husband saying, hey, oh, you are supposed to cook. I will tell Kaveri saying, oh, yo, Papa Kaveri, you only have to end up doing everything, is it? So that was my angle. So, irrespective of, I was coming from the same angle for Srinidhi also, where because I had that more familiarity with Srinidhi, my joke would be like, "Ayo Srinidhi, ella neene madbeka." The same would work irrespective of gender, is what my angle was, and I agree. Not realizing that joke could have an
Yeah.
actually impact is something which I was going through because, uh, like you said, that normalizes certain things is what I realized a lot later. I had an educational reel also was sent to me where I realized, okay, there is a lot
Oh,
of
is
layer to this. Yeah. But I understand where you are coming from and where exactly I felt. And also, somebody who complains on body shaming, I realized when it happened with me also, people use that to normalize things. That's when I realized, okay, even though it has been
yeah.
quoted as a joke, but again, never was the intention, and my beautiful 114 128 subscribers know that. But yeah.
One is here only, and I think you guys are also 125.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, next question, moving on.
Yes. No, I think along with this might be a hypothetical, or if you had to go through this, I think this is something which triggers me a lot. So I just wanted to bring this up. Is like any woman when they're going to get married, like there are a lot of my friends like wanting to get married and they're in that age group. Like sadly, all this discussion comes with age. So assuming it's that, I think it's a default behavior or thought that women have where they're like, after I get married, I'll move to my husband's house. Like, that's very triggering to me. But did you have to deal with this or any of these sorts? Like, I'm not only talking about like moving to their house. So, mainly this comes in because why are you laughing?
No.
I am also laughing because he's laughing. I don't know what he's
No,
laughing.
Yeah,
no.
why are you
No.
laughing, Prajwal?
No, actually, I am doing it like a reaction video where I am talking to you guys. My camera is this side. I am looking at the camera and saying what is happening. But yeah, please. That's a very good question. I have my
Yeah.
opinions, but it's like
Yes.
I have a lot of theoretical opinion versus the practical application. I am like that. But yeah, Divya, please.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, like, did you have to go through it in the first place? Did you have these thoughts? Or, like, of course, you're a person who never had these thoughts. That I can know for a fact. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have brought this up to you or might have said, oh, I have to do this. Like, how is this considered normal? How do you change this thought process? Like, if it's a choice, again, I'll be like, okay, but they need to know why they're making that choice as well, right? So yeah, I'll keep talking about it. So I'll move it on to you.
As you know, we don't live in India, right? We live outside,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's been the same since we got married. So in our case, this
Yes.
conversation never happened.
Yeah.
So I can also give theoretical point of view. I think it's
Yes.
important to note that, okay, taking a back step, I think there is a baseline understanding which is very common and people might get triggered here, is that once a girl gets married, she's actually not part of her old family anymore, and now she's part of her new family,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
people think is absolutely okay, but I don't think it's okay at all. It's
Yeah.
just that she already has a family. She's getting another family, just like how the boy has a family and he's getting another family. So people need to understand that as much as it is the responsibility of both, like for example, me and my husband, to ensure that my in-laws are safe and protected and healthy, it is also the responsibility of me and my husband to ensure that my mother is safe and protected and healthy. This whole
Yes.
dichotomy of my mother is like my mother's responsibility lies on my brothers. However, my in-laws' responsibility lies with me. I don't believe in this. I don't buy in this. I think this is
Yeah.
something that people have to have a conversation with their partners, if needed, probably their families. But I think a lot is about taking actions in the sense that you believe this for yourself, you act accordingly, and people will figure it out. Just to give you an example, there was a point of time where around the same time we were arranging two functions. One was for my father-in-law because he was turning 60, and one was for my mother because she was getting retired. And because we only come once in a year to India and we do pretty much everything around that time, these were happening quite parallelly. And my husband and I, we were running around for both things. And to be fair, on my husband's side, there were a lot many people, my brother-in-law and all of that, all of them as well to help. So I was spending most of my time planning the other event. There were some comments which were crazy to me, which hurt me a little as well. Somebody said, "Oh, your brothers are still studying now. That's why you have to do this event." The one for my mother. It
Okay.
hurt me so badly. And for anything, like for example, for my father-in-law's event, which we were I especially because it was the first time something like that was happening, I was very happy to be a part of it. And of course, I was inviting my side of the family. It was assumed like by default, oh, like we are coming to your function. Oh, yes, like write your name on it and all of that. Okay. So it was assumed that I'm part of this function. But for this function, people were like, oh, your brothers are still studying. Oh, they did not get holidays. Oh, you have to do this. So odd. Don't you think like how odd this is? How can one girl who's lived 30 years of life with few people suddenly switch off and like shut them down and say that I don't belong here anymore and I only belong here? Think about that girl. Actually, they end up not belonging anywhere because since
Yeah.
they're born, you're calling them paraya dhan. And once you move
Mm.
into your husband's family, your sasuma is saying, "हमारे यहाँ तो ऐसे ही होता है, हमारे यहाँ तो." Where is this girl getting anything? Like, unless she actually goes and creates a house of her own, right? So I think these are just conversations. So coming back to that function thing, I just did it. Continue to do the same thing. I continue to do what is required from me as a daughter and as a daughter-in-law. Yes, I'm sure I'm very aware of this fact that I am displeasing a lot of people, but I'm okay with it because I know where I am coming from and I know that this is for the greater good. So I'm okay. And I have a husband with whom I have very open conversations. So as long as he knows what I'm doing, I guess I'm fine.
No, but
Yeah.
I think when you quote that example, that's when the realization comes. Sadly, yes, I do agree. I don't really get to understand the points what you are making because I never hear them or we never go through them. But when you put it out like this with an example, that's when I realize, yeah, that's so fucked up. Sorry, like
Yeah.
how can actually like why will you not do anything for your mother? Like why exactly is being questioned at the first place of why exactly are you doing something for your own mother? So that is something which I think it's a lack of like people don't even realize, and it's going back to the same my jokes era. People don't realize what they are actually doing. Some people do it intentionally because that's strongly how they believe it.
Yeah.
That like you are
Yeah.
done. Why are you coming back to your home? Your home is that one is what people believe in. But I think some people also come from a place where there is no realization of because they will never feel or face that. If you are
Yeah.
a guy,
Exactly.
nobody would actually tell you that so that you realize that, oh, this
Correct.
can also happen. There is no realization for guys in terms of this until and unless you are hearing it, or you are actually so smart that you see and understand. This is
Yeah.
something which needs to be a lot of education about. Like, people have no clue, and then
Yeah.
the whole fight is saying, oh, women wants to dominate
They
men.
want to be- And actually bringing it back to Kaveri's question about this whole living situation, when a boy has to go out and study at 18, he leaves the home, okay? It's totally fine. But when he gets married and he wants to live separately with the girl, suddenly, लड़की ने आके बोला,
True.
very
Very true.
so illogical this is, no? And I feel, again, as I said, I might be triggering many people, but it's a very individual choice. So some people do live there with their in-laws. As long as everybody is on the same page
Same
and they are
page, yeah.
happy about it, great. Some people also live with the girl's parents, which is also great. As long
Yeah.
as, if this is fixed, right, this is such a big chunk in the whole feminism debate, because if this get fixed, then so
Yeah.
many things get fixed. Because right now the main issues why people want to have boys is that, a, the whole surname thing, which I feel people are starting to fix. I am happy
Yes.
that I've played a role in it. Then there is this whole living situation. Because of the surname and, oh, who will take care of us, you want boys. But if, imagine that is being fixed, will there ever be a debate about a boy or girl? It's not there anymore in so many places already, but there
Yeah.
still exist places. Female feticide is still a thing, female infanticide is still a thing. So, these things play a very, very big role, I feel.
Yeah.
I think
I think there
just
are,
getting one point
yeah.
here where the whole idea, like if you remember in the olden days, they used to say, बेटी का घर का पानी भी नहीं पिएंगे. So it was normalized,
Oh,
generalized on
yeah.
all sides. Yes, it's not like it's only one side. It was a thing where the girl parent also believe very strongly that, okay, once our daughter is gone, she is gone, and the boy parent also believe that once she is here, she is ours. Like, the whole it was like a stronger belief system back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
But
think two
also,
more points
I
which I
mean,
wanted to bring out was, one is like after marriage, right? A man will continue to be a mister, whereas a woman moves from being a miss to a missus.
Oh my God, we are getting juice out of the whole thing. Yes, yes, that's this.
woman.
Yeah, so I think initially it started out pretty much with the thought process that a woman is a father's property and then ends up becoming a husband's property. That's how it started out. And I see a lot of people actually changing it, and I'm glad. But the worst part is the government documents still expect the same things. So I don't know when that's going to change. But that's one. And the second is also, I don't know the words for this, but whether it is Titi or when someone dies, a son is the only one who is allowed to do the entire ritual. A girl is not. Like, even I have noticed that when the assuming a parent is in this scenario and they have only girl children, they are okay with a son-in-law doing it than the daughter herself. Like, that's so sad. You are the only child who is a daughter, and you are not allowed to do it, is what society is expecting. Like, I think these are all small things which I think a man never thinks. We are
one
trying
more,
to just yeah,
one more, if I may add.
yeah.
If you're a single mother, you can't do your own children's rituals in their wedding. And
Yes,
Is it?
yes,
it's
yes.
okay
You
if
need a
a
couple to
random
do that.
uncle
Yeah.
does it. And
Oh, I was not aware. Okay.
so my mom is a single mother, and when I figured out this is how it's going to be, because she was starting to look who will do it. And then she said my uncle and my aunt would do it. And I was heartbroken. And I told her that, you know what? If we don't set examples, who would? Please do it. Please do it. And you know what she said? Oh, if something happens later on, people will be like, oh, it's because you did it. That's why. And she didn't do
Mm.
it. It
Become
was
a superstition.
yeah, it was quite a
Yeah.
debate, but yes, there is a lot of superstition also. And I've grown up seeing all of this around it, and those are the little things, right? Even the kunkma and all of this. That's why I, to
Yeah.
some extent, don't believe in all these things, because I've seen they've created more sadness than happiness, at least what I've seen.
Yeah.
So all these things are pretty outdated, man. I think we really need to grow out of those.
So the gist of this is not can be done in a one episode thing. There is a we are
Yes.
just touching about one of the topics, and we see how much problem that exists and how much lack of education. I am a changed person, people. I was not a bad person to start with, but I am a changed person post this discussion. So I
Not
want
a bad person. He's now not a good person or what?
this is personal jealousy, people, but yeah, we'll get to that in different angle. But any last words from you guys about how exactly people should perceive feminism and how people can be a help if not a pain? Both of
Be
you.
curious, I would say. Be curious, ask the right questions, and be an ally. Nobody is going to pounce on you just because you said the wrong thing. Just be open minded and try to be supportive. It's only going to make the world a better place.
Yeah, so if you have like a new AI launch happens, right? A new AI model comes in, you try it out, and you're like, oh, this is wrong, this is right. So do that with feminism, understand why, and then, choose your beliefs.
No, actually, there was a whole debate like, when you said that AI thing. There is so much of
Huh?
bias in AI model where I think while testing,
Is it?
it had a yes. I was working in responsible AI before, where it had a bias telling it was associating certain things with women, certain things with men when you ask directly. It was
AI is
telling
also
inherently that
sexist.
women are supposed to do things. Huh?
AI is also sexist, I said.
Ah, okay, the data is biased, but yes. Thank you, Divya. I think this is not gonna be a one thing where we are discussed and we are okay. I
Yeah.
think this is gonna be a ever never ending discussion, and rightly so. It needs to be discussed more to understand. Somebody like me, amazing person, can go wrong. Then anybody can go wrong. So I am doing
Oh
correction
my
because my some damage. I think some people were doing. But yeah, thank you for being part of this, and thank you, Kaveri, also
Yes,
to
thank you so much.
adding and not actually losing both of you not losing your shit is something where I'm very happy about, but I think this is something you can definitely be angry about, but you're not. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Divya, for being here. Like, really, the way you put things is so nice. It's very nice.
Thank you. I look forward to my check, guys.
Yes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, see, people are asking
Say
money.
yes on the camera. No, it's
How will they
okay.
get money? You have to subscribe us, you have to watch us, you have to share us. Please do like, share, and subscribe so that we can pay our
Yes.
guests.
Yes. Please, guys, do that.
Until next time.
Yes. Bye bye.